British Columbia has some of the most rigorous laws when it comes to forestry, and certification is just an additional piece of the puzzle to prove on a global market scale that products come from a sustainable source. And we can take pride in knowing that at the end of the day, the customer is requesting sustainable products and we can provide that to them.
When you're thinking about the products that we produce, when a log comes out of the forest, in round numbers, 50% of that log goes into producing lumber. The other 50% are in residual products. So, 30 to 40% is going into chips for the pulp business. And then the remaining is in that form of sawdust and shavings and bark, which primarily goes into this pellet.
So from a life cycle perspective, I think it's important to look at the types of feedstock we utilize. The biomass industry in Western Canada utilizes feedstock that's at the end of its life cycle. So we're talking about waste materials that are left in the forest, waste materials that come from sawmill residuals, so the larger sawmilling industry. Previous to the wood pellet industry in Western Canada, a lot of this material would get burnt at roadside or burnt in large beehive burners and incinerated and contribute to an immediate GHG emission. With the wood pellet industry, we're now capturing that waste material, providing a value stream for something that previously had no value stream, and now we're converting that product and capturing energy from it. To me, that just makes a lot of sense from a carbon standpoint.
The bioenergy sector of British Columbia's forest economy is a very critical and growing and important part of our forest economy. It's also creating a ton of economic activity for small rural communities. It's allowing new opportunities for new entrants to participate in BC's bioeconomy in the forest, particularly Indigenous peoples.
Hi, my name is Diane Collins and I'm the General Manager for the Kitsum-Kalem Economic Development Group of Companies. One of the things that we've done with the Economic Development Group of Companies is we've started a logistics park. And within that logistics park, we are actually transloading a bioenergy product from Skeena Bioenergy. We have to develop ways and means of becoming self-sustaining. This logistics park gives us a true and real opportunity to take the land that we live on and develop an economic resource. I think because this is such a green energy product and a renewable energy product, the community in general totally supports wood burning pellets.
The most important thing about wood fiber going into a pellet mill is to keep it clean. What's important is how you handle right from the log delivery to the sawmill, through the sawmill, to keep rocks and dirt contamination out of your pellets. It is important in pellets that you control the raw material so you control the properties of the finished pellet. So what we do with those products that come from our sawmills, we put them in separate piles and then we blend them together on a formula before they go into the pellet plant. And that formula blending allows us to control the characteristics of the pellet, which include its heat value, its ash content. The first stage of the process is the wood is ground to a consistent size. And then the next stage in the process is it's dried. You have to remove the moisture content down to around 12 to 14% initially. And then it's ground to a powder after that. And then the powder is put through a pellet die and squeezed into a pellet. Finally, it cools off because it comes out of the pellet machines hot. And it's fragile when it's hot, but it's cooled and then it's shipped. The shipping of pellets is a very important piece of the manufacturing process. We ship our product by rail to ports, either Vancouver Port or Prince Rupert Port, depending on the customer, and it's taken in bulk in rail cars.
So CN is dedicated to the movement of wood pellets. We started wood pellets in 2000, moving 38 cars a year, and we're now going to move in 2021 probably over 28,000 cars. We're proud to be moving sustainable product for our customers. We also integrate very closely with the wood pellet shippers to make sure that we're managing the supply chains from origin all the way to port.
When the pellets arrive at Westview, they enter our conveyor system. And each of our conveyor points has a soft handling or a gentle slope so that we keep the integrity of the pellets. From there, we load them onto the vessel. They then proceed to a large spout that's also got soft handling capabilities so that when we load them in the ship, they don't break apart.
I'd say the importance of FiberCo to global markets is if you look at the products that we handle, we're really providing renewable and sustainable Canadian products to markets that otherwise wouldn't have access to them.
The global market for wood pellet has undergone substantial growth over the past decade, and continued gains are expected as economies around the world continue to green their energy production. Japan is Canada's third largest market for the forest products, and within that sector, no trade has seen greater growth in such a short period of the time than that of the wood pellet, a clean bioenergy alternative to fossil fuel that contribute to our collective effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Japan is aiming to cut greenhouse gases to zero and become carbon neutral by 2050. Canada, with its vast forest and sustainable management practice, plays a major role in this important movement. Today, Canadian wood pellets are being used in hundreds of the power plants across Japan, providing a critical source of energy to the country's power grid.
To make electricity out of wood pellets, they first have to go through a grinder, either on their own or mixed with coal. Then the powder is mixed with air and blown into a boiler. During the burning process, the chemical energy inside wood pellets is released as heat, and the heat provides high temperature inside the boiler. The heat is then passed to the water in the coils in the boiler, and the hot water is forced to move to the boiler where it will evaporate to create high-pressure steam. High-pressure steam is then moved to the steam turbine where the energy is converted into mechanical energy. And then the mechanical energy is sent to a generator where it will be converted to electricity. And then the electricity is fed into the grid, and the spent steam is cooled down and sent back to the boiler on a continuous cycle.
Both of our nations are committed to the highest form of sustainability and achieving climate goals. The fact is, climate change does not respect borders. If we are truly going to make a difference, we have to work together.